It was a quiet, chilly night in a small village far from the bustling city. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and even the crickets were strangely quiet. In this village, there was a man named Ahmed who had always been a skeptic, never believing in the supernatural. But what he was about to experience would change his life forever. One evening, as Ahmed was returning home after visiting a friend, he noticed something unusual. There was a strange figure standing by the side of the road. The figure was cloaked in black, its face hidden under a hood. Ahmed felt a chill run down his spine, but he dismissed it as his imagination playing tricks on him. As he walked closer, the figure slowly turned its head toward him. Ahmed's heart raced as he saw the glowing red eyes staring back at him from the darkness. He froze, unable to move. The figure raised its hand, pointing directly at him, and suddenly, Ahmed felt a force pulling him toward the figure. He tried to resist, but his feet moved on their own. The figure whispered something in a language Ahmed couldn't understand. The words echoed in his mind, causing him to feel dizzy and disoriented. Just as he thought he would lose consciousness, the figure vanished, leaving Ahmed standing alone on the deserted road. Shaken, he hurried home, his heart pounding in his chest. That night, Ahmed couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the figure's red eyes staring back at him. He tried to brush it off, but deep down, he knew something was wrong. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. Ahmed started hearing whispers in his house, even when he was alone. Objects would move on their own, and he felt a constant sense of unease. One evening, as Ahmed was sitting in his living room, he heard a knock on his door. When he opened it, there was no one there. But lying on the doorstep was a small, black box. Hesitant, he picked it up and brought it inside. The box was old, covered in strange symbols that he didn't recognize. Against his better judgment, he opened it. Inside the box was a small black doll, crudely made with what looked like human hair. There was a note inside, written in the same strange language he had heard the figure whisper. As he touched the doll, a sharp pain shot through his hand. He dropped the doll and it fell to the floor with a thud. From that moment on, Ahmed's life became a living nightmare. He began seeing the figure everywhere he went, always watching him from the shadows. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and the objects in his house began to move more violently. He tried to seek help, but no one believed him. They said it was all in his head, a result of stress or lack of sleep. Desperate, Ahmed visited a local cleric, hoping to find some answers. The cleric listened to his story and immediately knew what was happening. He told Ahmed that he had been cursed, targeted by someone using black magic. The doll he found was a voodoo doll, used to control and harm him. The cleric performed a cleansing ritual, but he warned Ahmed that the curse was strong and it would take time to break. He gave Ahmed a talisman to protect him and instructed him to pray regularly. Ahmed followed the cleric's advice, but the encounters continued. The figure's presence grew stronger and the attacks more frequent. One night, Ahmed woke up to find the doll sitting on his chest, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. He screamed and threw the doll across the room, but it disappeared before it hit the floor. The whispers turned into screams, filling his head with unbearable noise. He felt as though he was losing his mind. In a final act of desperation, Ahmed decided to leave the village, hoping to escape the curse. But no matter where he went, the figure followed. The torment continued, day and night, until Ahmed could no longer tell what was real and what was not. Finally, exhausted and broken, Ahmed returned to the cleric, begging for help. The cleric told him that the only way to break the curse was to find the person who cast it and confront them. Ahmed was terrified, but he knew he had no other choice. With the cleric's guidance, Ahmed traced the curse back to an old woman who lived on the outskirts of the village. She was known for practicing dark magic, and many villagers feared her. When Ahmed confronted her, she laughed, a cold, sinister sound that sent shivers down his spine. She admitted to casting the curse, fueled by jealousy and hatred. Ahmed begged her to lift the curse, but she refused, saying that he would suffer for the rest of his life. Desperate, Ahmed offered her money, his property, anything she wanted, but she only laughed harder. Just as Ahmed thought all hope was lost, the cleric appeared, holding a book of ancient prayers. He began to recite the prayers, and the old woman screamed in pain, clutching her head. The figure appeared behind her, its red eyes glowing with fury. But this time, Ahmed felt no fear. He stood his ground, watching as the cleric's prayers grew louder, more powerful. The old woman fell to the ground, writhing in agony, as the figure began to fade. With one final scream, the figure vanished, and the old woman lay still. The curse was broken. Ahmed felt an overwhelming sense of relief as the whispers stopped, and the eerie presence that had haunted him for so long disappeared. He thanked the cleric, who told him that he had been lucky to survive such a powerful curse. He warned Ahmed to be careful, as there were many others who practiced black magic, and not all curses could be broken. From that day on, Ahmed lived his life more cautiously, never forgetting the terrifying experience that had almost destroyed him. He never saw the figure again, but the memory of those glowing red eyes would stay with him forever. The village returned to its quiet, peaceful state, but Ahmed knew that evil lurked in the shadows, waiting for its next victim, and though he had escaped its grasp, he knew that others might not be so lucky. This story is a chilling reminder that the supernatural is not something to be taken lightly. Black magic is real, and its effects can be devastating. Always be careful, and never underestimate the power of the unknown.